it's Charles Kelly Money Tips. Today I want to talk to you about house prices, pensions, and what you can do to secure your own financial future without relying on financial advisors, the financial service industries, mutual funds, pension funds, and all of that sort of thing. So let's crack on. House prices have fallen, first of all, by 1.4%, according to the Nationwide, the lender in the UK called the Nationwide, and this is a month-on-month fall, which has occurred from October to November of this year by 1.4%. Prices fell in October, the largest month-on-month fall since June 2020, which is significant, you know, when you think of the timing of that. Overall, on the annual basis, the lender said it was a sharp slowdown. The annual rate of increase was 7.2%. It's gone down to 4.4%, which is getting on for half of it, you know. So prices are falling, and the lender said the market will remain subdued. I love that word, subdued. It sounds so calm and soothing, doesn't it? Subdued. It doesn't mean it's crashing. It doesn't mean it's going down. No, just subdued. Of course, a lender is bound to say that because they're in the lending business. Property is their business. They don't want to scare the market, right? The UK government's own official forecast actually predicted that the market could fall by 9% in the next couple of years. So that again is quite significant. The average property price went down from 263 from 268,000 in October. So it's not world news here. It's only a small drop, and you've got nothing to worry about if you're in a property and that property happens to be worth less this month than it was last month. It's not exactly the end of the world, right? But if you are buying at this moment, maybe you might not want to sort of jump in and just leap in with both feet right now. So just be careful there. I just wanted to share a screen with you in a second, but I'll come back to that. Okay. Now, I wanted to talk to you about pension funds as well, because in that ill-fated mini budget where Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng, with the best of intentions, they said, we want growth, we want to build the economy up. Great, and I think that was refreshing for a government to say that. They went in too fast. They scared the market by saying, we've got this borrowing that we're going to extra borrowing to help people with fuel bills to help stimulate growth, but it was unfunded in the market's view, and the markets didn't like them, and the markets brought them down. They didn't bring the whole government down, but they brought the leader down, and the chancellor. They sent him back from New York and said, sack that guy, he's not speaking our language. Even though Kwasi Kwarteng is an economist as such, so he does know about the markets, and he's worked for the big merchant banks, etc. But they didn't like what he was saying at that point, so he was fired. Liz Truss lost her job. Now we're back to Rishi Sunak, who was actually in charge when we went through this, and he was actually the person who was in charge and has led us to where we are now. High inflation, money printing, throwing money around like confetti during the furlough to keep people sat at home without working, and these bounce back loans, many of which are billions of pounds worth of which have proved to be fraudulent. So he was the guy in charge, but now we've got him in charge of the whole country, not just the Treasury. So that's what I'm saying here is that the Bank of England also predicts we're entering into the worst recession on record here. So things are getting serious. Now, what happened with pensions is that during that period when the price of bonds went up, because the lenders said, well, if you want us to lend money to the government to fund all of these spending plans, because it's not going to come from increased taxation, they were trying to reduce taxation, then we're going to charge you more. And that spooked the bond market, and bond prices fell. And pension funds that we thought were safe, all steady Eddie, they're investing well for the long term. We'll look after your money. We'll secure your retirement, Mr. Prospect. They found out a lot of them were not doing that, and the Bank of England had to bail them out. The Bank of England had to step in because the industry was in danger of collapse. The Bank of England, the buyer of last resort, had to step in, and somehow they come up with 19 billion. Where did that come from? Printing money, I guess, causing more inflation. They didn't have it in their back pocket. They've already said there's no money, magic money tree. There's no money left. So they found that money to build up these pensions. Now, there's nothing you or I can do about this, right? But what I'm trying to say to you is that you cannot rely on the pensions industry. You cannot rely on the financial services industry to make sure that you have a comfortable retirement. You certainly can't rely on the government to do this. So you've got to row your own boat and get your own financial house in order so that you can have a secure retirement. That doesn't mean you can't use them. Doesn't mean you can't use financial advisors, but you've got to know what you are talking about as opposed to just listening to them. A lot of people's money is at risk right now because they're in the high percentage of the money is in equities, which I think could be due for a big correction. Now, financial services also have up to £27 billion worth of money sitting in their coffers because people haven't claimed their pensions. This is 3 million people who've lost track of their work-based pension schemes that they've had because they've changed jobs, they've gone from job to job, moved, changed names because of marriage, that sort of thing. So they've not been traced sufficiently well to give them this money. So if you want to find out how to get hold of this money, go onto the .gov website in the UK. Don't go to advisors who want to charge you. Go on the website and try and claim that money back because there could be money sitting there waiting for you to claim. Because if you don't claim it, then the money will just sit there, and I don't know where it all goes to. I think it eventually probably goes back to the government, but it's certainly sitting there earning money for the Treasury right now. So I would definitely think you need to go and claim that. So do look out for that. Now, this is the screen I want to show you about the house prices. There it is, nationwide house prices falling, the annual rate falling 4% to 7%. And I'm not surprised because mortgages have gone up so much that lenders have pulled back on what they will lend people. So how can they pay the same price for that property? Now, the good news is that rates have started to come back a bit. Financial advisors and mortgage brokers have told me, and I want to get one on here in the next couple of weeks to talk about this, but some deals are coming in below what they were. I mean, we were looking at 6-7% for buy to let. Some of these are coming down to sort of 4-ish, so 4 into 5. So rates have come down because the lenders have to lend, and if they were charging too much and people said we don't want it, they have to come down. They're being a bit greedy because they're making a fortune on paying their investors, their depositors, very small amounts like 0.25%, 0.75%. These are the banks now. But charging mortgage holders 5, 6, 7, even 8, 9%, and credit card holders 16 to 40%, despite the fact we've had sort of fairly low interest rates for the last few years. So I think that, like inflation, will change. Now, this is one of the stock market things I wanted to show you, because people's money, people have lost money because they've had their funds in stock market investment. Look at the S&P 500. These are the top 500 companies on the American market. Look how it's fallen in this period in the last year. Okay, and you can look at the 3-month figures here. It's bounced back slightly there on the 3-month. Let's look at another market. These are the markets today at the end of this first week in December. Let's look at the Nasdaq, because the Nasdaq is the high tech stocks. The Nasdaq has also suffered. It's down a bit on the day, but look at the volatility there. It's gone down from 15 odd, nearly 16,000. It's gone down to where we're looking at it today, just over 11,000, 11,500. That's a big drop in that period, right? So this is what can happen to the stock market. And I think stocks have been way overpriced for some time. So now's the time when you need to look to learn how to row your own boat, educate yourself on money. And to help you do this, I want to give you some tips with my free money training. Do click on the link below. Finally, I wanted to say there's a lot of free money around, right? Free money, you can get free money by investing in pensions. You get tax relief on it, tax benefits. and you get your employer contribution. So you can literally double your contribution by putting your money into a work-based pension scheme. I'm not saying don't put in your money into pensions. I'm not literally saying don't touch them. But you've got to know what you are doing so that you're not just listening to someone saying, this is where you should put your money and you just sign the form. No, learn how to do it yourself. There's other free money around in the form of grants. These are energy grants to save the planet. They're throwing billions at this, again, of taxpayers' money, but you might as well have your share of it. This is to insulate your home, and insulating home, cavity wall, loft, solar panels can cost £20,000-30,000. So it's worth going after these grants. Now, you have to qualify for them. You have to be below a certain income. But, I know lots of people have got grants that are doing quite well for themselves and got quite big houses. So you might as well go after it. But do watch out for one thing. Some people have been putting into their loft a form of insulation. It used to be just, that fiber stuff that you roll out in the loft in between the rafters. No, now some people are putting in this stuff called spray foam. They charge £5,000 or £6,000 to just spray a load of foam around your loft. I don't know why they charge that much for that cheap rubbish. But one guy who was on a program called Moneybox said he had been, he paid £6,000 for spray foam insulation with a reputable firm. They put it in. He then needed to change his mortgage lender, and the surveyor came along and said, no, you've got this spray foam in your loft. Your house is worth zero. Yeah, he gave them a zero valuation until that stuff can be removed. And that's going to cost thousands of pounds to do that. So do look out for that spray foam. Don't have it in your house until they've sorted this thing out. It's a bit like that cladding, that they had on the ill-fated Grenfell Tower and a lot of people's blocks of flats. Somebody somewhere said that stuff is safe. This material is safe for fire. And, who gets the blame for this? Who goes to jail for the people who died? And the people have lost tens of thousands of pounds from the value of their properties and spent a lot of money during that time to maintain them. So someone has to be held accountable here, right? But your house is never worthless because someone will always buy it, of course. Someone at auction will always buy a property, whether it's got structural damage, it's got no roof on it, it's almost got no walls on it. Someone will still buy it at a price. But if you've got a property with a mortgage on it and you put the wrong insulation in, it causes problem. Your house could be valued at zero. So these are all things you need to learn about, to know about, and that's why you need to educate yourself. So I've got some free training there for you. Do have a look at that in the description below, and I'll show you how you can get your finances in order within the next 28 days. So one final thing now, if you like what I'm saying here, please like, share, give the thumbs up, share it to your friends, because it helps with the algorithms, whatever they are. Okay, so otherwise, have a great weekend ahead, and I will speak to you again soon. Thank you.